Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the best PvE Hunter builds. Now for this season, Hunter has become probably one of the main PvE characters, just simply because of the artifact. Now the build I am going to be showing you is, in my opinion, one of the best Hunter builds that you could have ever made from past seasons and this one. Now before we do start with the best builds, I just want to say I've covered pretty much every character on PvP, so we're going to go through everyone on PvE for the new season. So we're starting off again with the Hunter, but if you guys haven't checked out them previous PvP ones, check them out. I'll leave them sort of in the description, but if you want to check over the channel recently, they will be there also. So pretty much guys, now this build we've made is going to be grenade based, and I'll show you why obviously later on in the video. So I've done a lot of research into this and I've tested out pretty much everything in this build myself. So for me, Vortex Grenade is just going to be the easiest and the most damage wise to use. Now for this, what I'm going to do is use Gambler's Dodge also, because she recharges your melee ability, which is pretty good, especially for bottom tree where you can go invis, that sort of thing. And then Triple Jump is obviously just personal preference guys, nothing. Now bottom tree Void is where it is at this season in my opinion, and it's where it's at for a long time, simply because if you fire Shadow Shot multiple times in a rapid succession, Shadow Shot deals massive damage against tethered enemies. Defeating tethered enemies creates orbs of light and grants nearby allies Heart of the Pack buff. So pretty much this is the best sort of tether PvE wise in my opinion, simply because your teammates will get a buff in damage, and it does a lot of damage to bosses also. So you still have the invisibility sort of thing, so you can go Vanishing Smoke and then Combat Provision. Damaging enemies with grenades grants melee ability energy, making allies invisible grants grenade energy. So we're going to literally synergize this for a grenade build guys. Now the weapons wise, I'd recommend the new Witherhoard, which is really overpowered, an AR, and this brand new sword here, the Falling Guillotine. You'll see in the gameplay of this video how overpowered this sword actually is, and as you can tell, we do have Whirlwind Blade with this. Now going over the artifact, which is one of the most important things about this build. The first section is totally your preference. I would recommend using the ones that I have picked up. Now this enhanced sword scavenger is pretty good as well guys, so I'd recommend picking this up, but it doesn't really matter too much on the build. Then we have gone for prize shooting, doesn't really matter again. This right here is also a quick bonus obviously for the build, so I'd recommend getting that. But this is where it gets really interesting, these last two sections guys. So Breach Resonator is going to be your first one, grants melee and grenade energy on final blows with shield piercing rounds when a member of your fire team shuts down a barrier champion and ability. So basically, if you're doing anything with barrier sort of champions, when a barrier shield goes down and it pops up in the feed, you will get some of your melee and grenade energy when you do actually kill that champion, which is really overpowered for this build. The next one is Overload Grenades. Void Grenades cause disruption, delaying ability energy regeneration, lowering combatants stag, sort of damage output, strong against overload champions, which is basically what we're going to do. We're going to synergize this build. Now I have put a lot of time and thought into this build guys, so make sure you do drop a like on the video. And then we did go with the Unstoppable Pulse Rifle, which doesn't really matter, but the one thing you are going to want to have guys from this is this last one in the top right. Causing damage with a Void Grenade adds a weaken effect to combatants. Now this is so overpowered, and I'll show you in the gameplay how good this actually is. Now going over the build guys, I just want to say the armour, as you can tell, is my Trials armour, so this is basically set for my PvP build. Unfortunately I don't have a good PvE build, but we still managed to get a decent overall build out of this. Now for me, we have got 80, I'd say 79, so tier 7 discipline, tier 6 intellect and tier 6 mobility. Now that's the highest I can get. What you're going to want to be going for guys in this build is obviously 100 discipline and 100 intellect if you can. Our resilience is a little low, but you should be able to sort of accept this with invisibility and get out of situations really quickly. So for the helmet, what we do have is a discipline mod with a special ammo finder, just to sort of help out with DPS wise, that sort of thing, and obviously increase with discipline, so nothing too much right there. Now for the arms, what we do have is another discipline mod with impact induction twice. This is really overpowered as well, guys, so I recommend putting this on. Causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. So like I said, we're going to be using a lot of grenades with this build, and obviously causing damage with a melee attack, anything that decreases that grenade is going to be helpful. Now right here, what we do have is another discipline mod with overload grenades, so that's the ones that cause disruption, which is really overpowered. And then we have also paired that with grants melee and grenade energy when someone does break an anti-barrier shield. Now this right here is really good as well. So if you read this, guys, while charged with light, dealing damage with a sword gives you bonus sword damage for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of charged with light. You can pick this up, I think, from the new vendor where you get umbrella engrams. It may have disappeared from the sort of shop, so if you haven't got it, don't worry, it's nothing too big. But obviously the exotic you want to be using, as always with bottom 3 Night Stalker, is Orpheus rigs, because you will be getting a lot more orbs, and it's just simply orbs after orbs, so you'll be creating more orbs for your teammates, which then turn into orbs for you. So it's a really good build. And then on the cloak, we do have discipline mod with this tier 6 sort of energy cost, causing damage with a void grenade, adds a weaken effect to combatants. This is really like overpowered against unstoppable, that sort of thing. So I know I've talked a lot about the build, guys, but I've put a lot of work into this, and as you can tell, it is synergised the best I can get it. Like I said, you PvE players that play it a lot will have a PvE build pretty much for this. So like I said, you're going to want to aim for 100 discipline, 100 intellect, but if you can get around about the same stats, this build will work, obviously with just the mods, that sort of thing. So I'll show you how this build pretty much works and the best way to do it. So as you can tell from the mods, you pretty much want to be using your grenades as often as possible and causing damage. Now what I'm going to do to show this off is I'm going to take it into the new contact event over on the IO, and we'll test it there because there are quite high enemies over there, so we'll be able to test this build really well, and I'll show you how to sort of synergize your melee with also your grenade. So when we are over there, I'll show you how to do it. Right guys, so now we have loaded over on IO. I'm pretty much going to start this event and show you how to synergize. Now you'll be getting your grenade quite a lot, so you want to be using this grenade quite often, and obviously just using it when you can. Now today I did get a PC, guys, and obviously that is why, well, I've upgraded my PC pretty much, so hopefully the gameplay is running a little smoother, that sort of thing. But pretty much all you guys are going to want to do is use your grenades best you can. Now that was a complete fail, but I'll show you how to sort of do it. So if you melee, because we've got that boost, pretty much a melee kill is going to regen pretty much your sort of health or your grenade, and as you can tell, after a couple melees you're going to be getting it back. And pretty much that values grenade right there, the more damage you do, look how long that lasts as well, guys, so you'll be able to get that as quickly as possible. So all you're going to want to do is simply run around melee, go invis, get melee kills. And don't forget, this build is for high tier PvE gameplay, so with the barriers, that sort of thing, your grenades will be taking out anti-barriers, and pretty much that is why this build is the best PvE build. Now there may be a better one for sort of like public events like this, but for nightfalls, anything like that with barriers, overload, they're really overpowered, and the vortex grenade just seems to be the best because enemies sort of walk into it and it lasts there a long time. Not only that, the super that you will be able to get and the sort of orbs you'll be able to generate, and you can fire them around multiple people, as you can see in the gameplay right now. We're using it around the map, and the amount of orbs we just generated for your team is going to be really helpful, especially for them high-end PvE sort of activities and that sort of thing. Now also, I think your vanishing smoke, if you get a kill with that, does count as well. Now it may not, I haven't tested that out fully, so let me know if it does, and hopefully you guys can leave a comment. But pretty much this build is just a melee sort of unlimited nades. Now it's not as good as the Sunbracers or the Sunbreakers or whatever they are on the Warlock that used to be a build in a previous season, but it's pretty good, and that is why you want to be running Hunter in PvE in my opinion. Now I will be making obviously PvE builds for the Titan and the Warlock in the upcoming future, so make sure you turn on post notifications for that. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this build. Let me know if this build works for you. Like I said, it's for high-end PvE activities with barriers, overload, anything like that. This build is going to work really well for you guys. But hopefully you guys did enjoy. Leave a like if you did, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.